Everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back on my channel. Today's video is going to be my February TBR, so I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I'm hoping to get to this month. I did try to include some romance-ish books, even though it's my least favorite genre. They're not like fully just romance books, they're mostly like fantasy with romance or something with a little bit of romance in there. Ultimately, at the end of the month, I wouldn't be surprised if at least half the books that I read were more like post-apocalyptic than romance. So still thought I would try and include some, so let's do this. The first book is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas, which is probably one of the most popular series that is currently ongoing on BookTube, and I know nothing about it except that it's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. That's basically all I know, and I don't want to know too much about it. I know that the third book is coming out in May and that people seem to love that series. The second one more so than the first one, but obviously you need to start somewhere. So this is one of the books that I'm hoping to get to in February. The next book is more something that is funny than really truly romantic, and it is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. And I have never seen the movie and I have never read the book, so I'm really excited to get to it. I did start it. I read like the first like 50 something pages into it, and I know that it's like a over-the-top romance book that is actually just funny. So since I've only read the first 50 pages, I don't know much about it. I've only met the main character yet, and you can't really take it seriously when the main character is called Buttercup, so I'll definitely be trying to continue reading it, and if I do finish it, I plan on trying and watching the movie too. Some people prefer the movie, some people don't. I will have to see for myself. Next thing, I'm kind of torn because I had been planning on reading some Colleen Overly books for February because she is like really well known for romance book. But from what I've heard lately, I'm kind of feeling like I should just get rid of all the books that I have from her. I'll have to see what I decide, but I did have Ugly Love and I did have some of the ones that some friends had let me read, and I don't know. I feel like I just want to declutter all her books now because of some of the things. If you haven't seen that review, I will link it down below, but like I'm really not into romance, especially trying to normalize unhealthy romance. I feel like I've been pretty vocal with some YA books that I felt like the relationship were really unhealthy. Let me know what you think, but I'm not sure anymore. I am finally getting around to reading the second book in this series. This is The Rose and Dagger by Renée Ahdieh, and I still feel torn about how I feel about the first one, which I read last year. And if you don't know, it's going to be a retelling of 1001 Night. And I still feel like in the first book, the girl switched way too quickly from being, oh, I hate you, I want to kill you, to, oh, you know what, you're kind of cute, I love you. And it's just like, I don't know, I'm still torn about it, but I still decided to continue. I will read, this is the second book and the last book in that series, a duology, and I will see how I feel about it. Hopefully the second book helps me decide how I feel, but I don't know, I'm a little torn. We'll see, but I might as well read it since I have it. This book I've actually been keeping just for this month, and it is Every Day by David Leviathan. In this book you're following, I believe it's a teenage boy that every day he wakes up in a different body. So every day is a different life, and one day he ends up falling in love with a girl, and then every day afterwards he just tries to go back to her. So I thought it was like the perfect romance book that still had enough like fantasy sci-fi in there to interest me. So I'm hoping I'm gonna actually like this. I really like this concept of like time traveling, changing body, and all these things. If there's any books like that that you know that you want to recommend me, please leave a comment down below. I'm planning on getting I have ordered it. I'm actually waiting for the 15 Lives of Ari August. The first 15 Lives of Ari August. I'm planning on reading that book too, but since I have this one and I'm really in the mood for this, I will be reading this one. So last year I wasn't super lucky with Rainbow Rowell. I did read Fangirl and it just wasn't for me. But I've been wanting to try and give it another shot and do one of her book, and I decided to read Attachment. This one is a contemporary, I believe it's adult, or is it YA? I'm pretty sure it's adult. Where you're following two girls that are friends and just exchange emails at work. And then there's a IT guy that just ends up reading the emails and then falls in love with one of the girls. And it's actually pretty short. I thought I would give it a shot, and if I don't like it, then afterwards I might decide to just give up on this author. Sometimes an author is just not for you, but since it's been so popular on BookTube, I decided I'll give it one more try. And this is basically where it ends with any romance books. I needed for my own sanity to include other things. There are other books that I'm planning on reading / either adding to my list or just to replace with other ones, but I have a haul coming up. I've been like collecting books since Christmas and buying books with gift cards or just sales, and I've been accumulating them. There's only one book that I include in this haul, but you will see soon. So one of the books I wanted to read is The Nest by Cynthia Sweeney. All I know is that this book, you're following a family dynamic, which I've been really enjoying reading those type of books lately, and that basically it's like first world problem. People are very rich and then something happens and then they end up not being so rich, and I really like the cover, which I know is silly, but sometimes the cover just makes you want to read the book, and I've been wanting to read it. I've been in the mood for this, and I feel like family is still somewhat relevant for February. Not that you need to choose what you're reading based on the month of the year, but it's something I've been doing. So next book is something that you're gonna see in my next haul, but I was just too excited to mention that I want to read it, and it is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jodie Meadows. I've been wanting to read this book for such a long time. Every time I hear people mention it, first of all, the cover, absolutely beautiful. It's a historical fiction retelling of My Lady Jane. Basically, if you don't know anything about history, super quickly, she was queen for like 9 days, and most of those days she spent in prison before being killed. They kind of decided to change her story, make it a little bit more fun and less, you know, sad. And I know that there's like shapeshifter and just a lot of like fantasy thrown in there, and I thought it was really cool, and apparently it's really, really funny. And after all that romance, I might actually want to laugh a little bit. So the last book I'm going to mention in my official TBR, even though I might still read other ones, if the new ones that I'm planning on reading, is going to be this one. This one is Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. If you don't know, last month I finished the Mistborn trilogy, well, the first Mistborn trilogy, and before continuing with the like second series of the Mistborn, I wanted to just give myself a little bit of a break since the last one in that series is not out yet. And since this whole trilogy is out, why not start with this one? I know this one is a YA fantasy series. What's always great with Brandon Sanderson is the world building, the magic systems, and in this one it's no different. You're basically following people that have magical power. Is it because of like, yeah, there was a burst in the sky that just gave people powers, and then these people ended up not being superhero. Basically they're like supervillain or something. So yeah, you're basically following normal people trying to solve the issue, which, so very excited to read this series because I have the 3 of them, so I can marathon them if I end up liking it, and I'm really excited. I've been really, really loving Brandon Sanderson's book, and I want to read all of them, and I'm trying to start with like the first couple ones he wrote, so I just keep the best for last, so I thought I would go with this one. So those are the books that I am planning on reading this month. If you have any books that you are planning on reading this month, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you have read any of those and you have any opinion, please again feel free to comment because I love talking about books. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe if it's not already done, and I will see you in my next video.